So my sheep right now are out eating. So this is their home. This is where my sheep, yeah, these are little chickens.
大家好，我是 Ivy， 欢迎来到 Ivy 的微醺酒馆。在这里，我带你沉浸在世界各地美酒的怀抱中，花到7分，酒至微醺，让我和你分享不完而美的品酒至高境界。大家好，欢迎来到 Ivy 的微醺酒馆之100个酒庄系列。今天我们荣幸的请到了 Pete， 这是我的酿酒师好朋友，带我们到他的 vineyard 参观。Nice to meet you, Pete.
Hi,
Thanks
nice
so
to
much
meet you.
for filming today. Let's go.
Okay. Biodynamic farming. Key principles of biodynamic farming is you really pay attention to the microorganisms in the soil.
Okay.
And then you also pay attention to the flora and fauna above the soil. You don't use any synthetics, so you're not putting any type of poisons on the ground. You're not using any synthetic fertilizers. All the fertilizers that come into this leaf or come into these berries come from organics. So the fertilizer I use in this ground is from sheep. The sheep come, they eat the grass,
they eat the grass.
and then they leave their poop and pee, right? And then that's where all the organics come from.
Pete 刚刚解释到什么叫做 Biodynamic， 就是他们完全不用任何的人工肥料，所有的肥料都是他们把羊牵到这里，把地下的草给吃了之后，羊的排泄物就变成了天然的肥料。
You want to have a nice diversity and mixture of the flora and fauna above ground, because what that releases is the yeast, and the yeast lands on the berries, and then you natively ferment.
So what do you think about the natural yeast? So is that a little bit slow down the process during the fermentation?
Well, natural yeast, sometimes it could be so virulent that you can have a hotter fermentation. So you have to maintain the temperatures and keep them cool. The cooler the fermentations, the slower the fermentation will be. And I like a long, slow fermentation. That way you'll be able to extract all the pigment from the skins and get a more richer, more colorful, more fruit-flavored wine.
So how long your fermentation going?
Up to 45 days.
45 days.
Which is really long. Most people say 2 weeks,
2
21
weeks,
days.
3 weeks.
I go long. Yeah. If there's too much structure, I could back it off. But a lot of these natural yeasts help drop out a lot of the structure that comes in the wines. You guys will taste them once we get into the vineyard inside the cellar. You'll see.
What is the elevations here?
We're exactly at 1,000 feet.
酿酒师 Pete 要带我们去看一些有意思的。
So this row is what vines want to do. They get a lot of shade, you grow a lot of different leaves, and it's really even hard to see where the clusters are, right? Like this cluster is completely in shade, and a lot of the clusters are just hidden. Where this is what I'm working on right now. So what I try to do is I try to remove all the laterals that are growing, and I try to expose the clusters so that at this age, since they're just baby teenagers, the sooner they get close to the sun and get the sun, the more that they'll be able to acclimate in the sun. And then their skins will become thicker and they won't get sunburned. Some years you don't have to do this as much. This year, because of all the rain we had, the wine grower is going to make the vintage this year. This is going to be a very challenging vintage. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time out in the vineyard trying to create the right microclimate for the grapes.
Peter 刚刚介绍到，因为今年2019年纳帕是有很多的降雨，就是从1月份到4月份都是狂下雨的一个状态，所以又因为雨水很充足，导致于这些叶子长得非常的旺盛。我们阳光又来得很晚，高温的时候是从5月份才开始有好的阳光的天气。今年对很多酿酒师都是非常的挑战的一年，所以他们现在要做的就是把这些叶子剪掉，尽量的露出了一些部分，让这些果实可以接受到阳光。如果没有去做这件事，最后的葡萄是会不是很成熟，造出来的酒就会有一股像草啊、像青椒那样的味道。
You look down that row, see how it's just
I know,
too much shade, right? So I'll show you what you want it to look like eventually. You want it to look. See, I started working down this row. I still have that rest of it to do. For this row, that's what you want it to look like. See how this row's all done? I'm going to show you something very interesting here. So this is spur pruned. And I make 2 styles of Cabernet. I do a spur pruned vine and I do a cane pruned vine. This vine here is cane pruned. So the interesting thing is this vine here is going to give me 20 pounds of fruit. And this vine here is going to give me 20 pounds of fruit. But this is only going to give me 20 clusters, and this one's going to give me 40 clusters. In France, they call a cane guyot. So this is considered, in viticulture, we call this double guyot. Look how big these clusters are. They're really big clusters. Here, on the other hand, this is spur pruned. In spur pruned, you have the trunk, and then instead of having a cane, you have the trunk fold, and we call that a cordon. And on every spur position, you have 2 canes. 2, 2, 2. So in the same distance, where I have 2, 4, 6, 8, over here, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4. But these clusters are a lot smaller. See how small this one is? This is small compared to this big one, right? So this is going to give me a big cluster with big berries. This is going to give me a small cluster with small berries.
So do you blend it like together at the end, or you?
No, I like to keep them separately. Yeah, because I think a lot of older men who drink Scotch like this style, and a lot of women like that softer style.
So nowadays in Napa, that people in a vineyard, they prefer this style, the pruning, or this style.
Depends. If you're somebody who likes to cellar wines and keep them for a long time and drink them with a lot of body and character, you're gonna go to here. And this is where, versus something like this, it's still gonna be a beautiful glass of wine, but you're not gonna be able to cellar it that long. It'll probably only last 15 years, where this can last 30 years. Let's walk through here. I'll introduce you to the fertilizer management team. This is my fertilizer team.
我们刚刚讲到那个 Biodynamic 种植，它其实有一点像我们的中国日历的时节，什么时候是种的，什么时候是采摘的，都很有讲究的。Pete 说，最好是在满月的时候去摘这个葡萄。
So my sheep right now are out eating. So this is their home. This is where my sheep. Yeah, these are little chickens. See all this? We clean this up and we put it in the compost pile. So it's their poop that fertilizes the vineyard. That's why my vineyard looks so pretty. It's because 100% organic nitrogen. A lot of people take multivitamins. They're synthetic, and that's not good for your body. The more organic it is for your system, the more benefits you'll have. Not just for your body, but for your mind as well.
Yeah, you got more energy, like doing thinking.
Yep, or your muscles don't get hurt. And then the chickens are great. They keep the flies away.
他也讲了，他酿酒的一个核心就是他希望酒这种东西对身体是好的，必须是有机的。
Where do you think they would hang out during the day if they were sheep and it was a hot day? It would be under trees, right? So when I put this barn here, put it right underneath the tree so that the sheep feel at home. And then also the tree, because the tree gets the benefit from the sheep too. So you got to think about things like that when you have chickens and you have sheep. Try to put them in a natural environment. The reason I have this barn here isn't because it's pretty. It's because here in California it's illegal to hunt mountain lions. So every night we got to shut the gate. We can put them in here and we got to shut the gate because the mountain lions will come. In the daytime we open them up, we take them back out and they could go out and eat all around. We have 14 acres here. And then during the winter time they're always in the vineyard, 100%.
这叫做 free range， 就让他们快乐的、自由的在这里吃啊，一切都是自然的样子。像这样的有机种植其实是非常花时间和花精力又费金钱。
They have black skin, the bones are black, and the meat is black. For a half of a chicken in a restaurant, you pay $400 to eat that chicken.
$400
to eat that chicken.
天哪，我没见过这种鸡，跟乌鸡，中国乌鸡我不太像。Very cute.
And the water that we use here is all from this mountain, 100% spring water.
Spring water.
So it's sweet water that you water the grapes with, so the grapes are happy. And then also, you clean your barrels. If you need to add water to your wine, it's all good, clean water. A lot of the vineyards down on the valley floor, they use reclaimed water. It's not good water. Biodynamics is it's a closed system. You can't bring anything onto the property. If I need to bring anything on the property, I can't.
So how do you prevent the birds to eat the fruit?
Well, luckily for me, this is a really very remote area, and the birds haven't gotten news of this. But I do have, I do have some bird damage in there, but it's minimal. And to deter them, I put some bird netting up. So on the outside rows, I have some bird netting, Because see those wires? The birds do sit up on the wires. And they'll come in and they'll eat a little bit. But I figure the birds have to eat a little bit too, right?
A little bit. Yeah, share a little bit. So we're going to taste the barrel 2018.
This is a Cabernet seed that came up from seed 2 years ago. And I've been growing it on this wire. Pretty cool.
美酒既是艺术也是生活，关注 Ivy 的微醺酒馆，带你品味乐趣人生。下期节目我们再见。